Okay, hope you're in for something different here. I have a piece of the vintage paper, and it's a little bit too flimsy. It's like the thickness of copy paper or something like that, cheap copy paper at that. So I have mounted it on a piece of thick, I don't know, 10-point cardstock here, okay? Now I've done the same thing with another piece. Now they don't have to be identical. I'm just going with this vintage paper because it's going to give me a really big head start in the creation of this piece. I don't have to worry about, starting off with a white piece of paper and doing a lot of coloring on here. Now that would, it would be a more, kind of, targeted, specialized tone pattern, light and shade for the scene that I'm doing. But just starting off with this existing thing is just going to make things go by so much faster. And this piece is going to be a little bit of an experiment here. So it's going to be one of those pieces that where you flip little windows, you'll reveal, a little bit of a treat. Now, this one's going to be kind of a Halloween themed, I don't know what you call it. It's not a flip card or something like that, but I don't know, maybe a hidden window card or something like that. If you call it a card, I know this one's going pretty big because I might want to put kind of larger windows and smaller windows. I don't know at this point in time. I'm just going to have to see what my layout looks like, okay? All right, so I want this one to be kind of like a cave. All right, now I'm going with the Brilliance ink because, I don't know, it's just a really easy ink to use on this type of paper in that it's thick, okay? It's a thick ink because it's pigment ink. And it should dry on here really well. Okay, so let's go with this here. I'll go at different staggered heights a little bit. If you haven't watched my videos before, if you have, you heard me say this a million times, but you kind of press and hold like this to allow that ink to transfer onto this paper. This paper doesn't look like it's coated, but it is. It's all this printer's ink on here to give it that vintage look. So even like in this lighter area, it's not like just bare paper or something like that. So you have to kind of allow that ink to transfer a little bit, and it should serve you well with that little extra time, okay? But experiment. It probably depends on how wet your pad is as well. Another ink that I've been using on this one is Stays On, so that's a good choice. But experiment around. I don't know. Maybe you have a VersaFine Clair or something like that. Some inks might take longer to dry on here. Oil-based ink is probably going to take a little bit longer to dry than a water or solvent-based. Solvent-based ones are, the quickest drying. Dye-based inks for me, I tried it once. I haven't tried it multiple times, but it didn't really print out very strong. It was more grayscale. So maybe you want, a lighter impression sometimes, so that would be a good choice to go with if you want kind of a lighter impression there. Okay, so I'm going to fill this in because this isn't, it's going with a different type of mentality. Normally you leave kind of open areas, but this is going to be something where people are opening up little hidden doors in here. So we're going to go pretty full, because it's all about the surprise of opening. Okay. All right, so those are the Brookside boulders, and I'm going to use some of the ledge right here. Okay, I'm going to just stamp this right down here. A little bit of a change in textural form. I don't want things to look too monotonous on this, like a wall of just, monotony, because, we want this also to look somewhat interesting and therefore varied. Doesn't have to be huge, but, a little bit of visual interest in there in the background. So I undermask a little bit, okay? A little piece didn't go, I missed a little bit there. But you just fill it in with a colored pencil. Okay, now let's see. I want to change kind of my textural forms a little bit. Let's see, let's go with this kind of smoother one, and then I'll go with the rougher one again. So we'll oscillate it. Oscillate in terms of textural forms, okay? Sound mask this off a touch. I kind of undermask it, have a little bit of that rock showing. And let's come in like this. So I'm overlapping my previous impression, and I'm overlapping the lower impressions too. That way you get things more continuous like that. And you get that little piece right there. So you just ink up a little bit of that side right there. And I'm overlapping probably a ½ inch or so from that previous impression, see? And it just continues on like that. It looks like one continuous rock. All right, now let's change things up a little bit. Let's go with a little bit of a, a change of angle or something like that. Sometimes you can go vertical like that. But here's what I'm talking about with the different textural forms. See that? Let's go a little bit of a change of angle here too. I'm going to go like this, so it looks like this kind of looping structure like this. Okay, we have this texture in here. Now I'm going to go back to this one again, the ledge. We'll go back to this one, so it goes kind of rougher, a little bit smoother, rougher, and then smooth again. Running out of space to work here on my desk. I think I'm going to leave that little opening up there in the cave entrance. Maybe I'll narrow it down a little bit more. Okay, see how easy that was? You don't worry about kind of over and under masking so much. You just overlap everything, a good amount, and you won't have to worry about a bunch of gaps. You know what I mean? And plus, we're going to be adding a lot of tone to this anyway, in terms of creating additional shadows, which blends everything together in the end. So don't sweat it if you're doing this, and you get some little kind of gaps and everything in between things. That's not going to be important in the end, really at all. And I'll show you what I mean by that really shortly here. Okay, so this area down here is supposed to be like the cave floor or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'll add a bunch of textural forms down here like this. The tiny rocks small. I'll kind of collect them like right against the rocks down there. And this could even be water or something like that, cave water. I always love taking a tour of caverns, and always like the idea of going spelunking, which I really haven't done. I've explored some small systems in my hiking days, but never anything terribly extensive. But always fascinates me. Okay, so that is that. We're almost done with this one. We'll get back to that later on. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of shading in here with my pencil. There's a lot of areas in here that look, very similar, so I'm going to try to create some separation here and a little bit of structure. Okay, so I think I'm going to put my little explorer up here or something like that, or a little kid or something like that. I think this would look kind of interesting down here out in the open. Maybe I'll do that right now. Going to be somewhat of a focal point, so I'm going to stamp and hold there for a little bit. And I'll think about a figure up there as I go through this. Okay, so where some of these rocks end and the other one begins. Okay, so you can see these rocks right here in the foreground. I think I'm going to darken in the rocks behind them. That's my general theory. And then where that ends, like that, the ledge, and the new ones start, or darken it in, from the bottom up like that. Okay. So here we go from the bottom up. No, you don't have to do things like fully rendered or anything like that, but just in general, a little bit darker on the bottom. At the base of rocks, and they'll be a little bit top lit, okay? These areas in here, they blend in so well, so sometimes it's hard to even see the separation. right, I think that is it right there. What minute mark are we at? Quite a bit of colored pencil work. But there are a lot of rocks here, and just kind of giving them that little bit of extra tone and, I don't know, dimension, I think, adds to the foundational work here. Even though that's not what this piece is about. I mean, you could just not put any of this in here, and I think it'd be fine, you know. But that little extra, I think, kind of just focuses the viewers' kind of attention a little bit, though. I mean, it's still pretty cluttered in there, but it's kind of the, I don't know, in some ways the point of this piece. Kind of like a little bit of a hunt type of thing. Adding a little bit more tone. I'll darken it here and there. Gives it a little bit more structure. All right, now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try to decide where our little nooks and crannies are going to be, you know, for people to kind of flip. And there's going to be different kind of doors, like maybe some open from the bottom and some open from the side. We'll try to vary it a little bit. And what I'm going to be doing is I'll be cutting along the outline of these rocks in here, as far as where we'll be hiding something that looks like like a rock to hide something under. It looks like it naturally will flip down or something like that, maybe. I don't know. First time doing this, so. All right, I have my X-Acto blade. It's going to be doing the most cutting I've ever done on a piece. In fact, I don't know, have I done any cutting at all? All right, so I just need to keep track. I don't want to have too many cuts like right around each other because I don't want the you know, the surface to be too flimsy. So let's see where some of these will go. Okay, so on something like this, let's see, I'm going to cut along that top area there like that, and then come down here. Or should it open from the top? I don't know. This one's real rounded here, so I'm going to do this right here. I don't know what I'm doing here, so bear with me. Just in terms of the strategy of the, I don't know what you call them, fold outs or something like that. And see how this rock goes like this. I'll go along that arch like that. Okay, it's going over here. And this paper is pretty stiff here now that it's mounted on the cardstock, so let's go up there like that. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that right there. This cut is like right there. So I'll cut it from the back side just to have a little more access to it. And see that? We'll go like this. This will be our little fold out area for a little critter. And we'll fold it back down like that. Is that? All right, let me leave some of these open where we're doing it. Naturally, be careful. Always be careful when cutting, okay? You don't have to get it in one cut. You can always kind of go back and cut a little bit more, but as you get comfortable with it, you know, you can have more pressure on there if you want to. Let's go for a fairly large one here. I need to keep track of where I cut. I don't want to cut the whole thing out, you know, so take a look right there. There it is, like there. It's like a shark fin or something, so check this, and go like that. Let's go real big. Let's do this big one down here. So I'm trying to kind of evenly space it and maybe have a little bit of a different size for some of these. So you see if some of these are kind of naturally more, you know, flatter on one side, that's the side that I'm going to use as my folding area. See, as I just keep going around it, you know, getting that, cutting a little bit more. You don't have to press down, you know, where the accidents happen with cutting and knives is if you try to, like, get it, you know, really in one pass as opposed to just making, you know, lighter passes. Although I'm pressing pretty good on this one, but I've done a lot of X-Acto trimming in my life. Not on cards though, but on other things. All right, so there's 5 things in it. Let's have something up, maybe up top here like this, right here. Or I don't want to get too close to the side because I'm gonna have to seal this off, and I'll show you what I mean by that when I get to that. But how about something like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Maybe that's enough. trying to think of something here. What I'll be stamping in here. Let's see. I can do the whole opening. That could be a whole opening. I can put something on the outside, and then you flip it down, and it's something else. That might be a kind of an interesting idea. Well, let's go for it. Like I said, I don't want to get too close to the edge. That's already pretty close, but I think I have an idea for this one. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now we have our hidden little compartments like that throughout our cave. Now this is going to get sandwiched with this piece right here, okay? So I need to mark down where all of these little openings are going to be, and we'll decide what we're going to put in there. So yeah, I'll use my colored pencil for that. Okay, so we have our little openings right here. And you just need to give a kind of a rough kind of idea where they are. And I think for this one, it's going to be the eyeball. That seems like a too perfect of an area for that, right at the opening of the cave. I'm just picking out some of my little Halloween-ish little things in here. I do have some other designs as well. Might have to go for a lot of small designs. I just see what fits in these too. There's a skeleton head. There's either a dancing skeleton. Let's go with this guy in here somewhere though. You won't be able to see the full image in most of these windows here, but you know, you just want to get them roughly in there. As I do this type of thing, I kind of imagine like a little kid getting something like this from you, and you know, opening up these little spots like that. I think it'd be fun for them to do, provided they like, you know, kind of horror things. My son was like monster horror Halloween obsessed when he was a kid, because our you know, before he was even 1 year old, the neighbors had this full haunted house out in their front yard, so he was fascinated by it, so would always go over there when he was like, I don't know, like 1 year, 1.5 or so, and you know, always just check it out anytime we you know, pulled up in the driveway. You'd always want to go over and check it out, and you'd always wander through it. He loved it. Loved going to the Halloween store. I want to put some ants on the outside here, so I'm going to not have them as a little reveal on the inside. Here's another eyeball right here. My little Edward Gorey bat here. Sounds like that's like a pen name. I don't think it is. But he always drew like gory looking things, so it's like a perfect name for him. Unless it was like a pen name. Kind of fits right in that little kind of shark fin opening. And we have this real small one right here. I think that's a little bit too small of a head, I think, that little guy. Let me pause the video here. I'm going to go look for another image that I think would work really great here. Okay, I have this little one right here by Graven Images in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I walked into Stamp Arbor one time and I saw these images by this company. I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I bought 2 or 3 of them. Something like that. So little, you know, things in there. All right, so let's see how they look here. Someone like opens up this one, and they get the eyeball right there. Let's get all these closed up here. I need to work the and get that hinge going there. Get that hinge established a little bit. So you go like this. And I think it's best to leave them kind of a little bit open, but someone goes like this, and there's an eyeball in there. It's almost like a, you know, little, I forgot the name of it. The Christmas things, you know, when you open up the little windows, stuff like that. Okay, now one of the things I'm noticing right now immediately is when you open these up, we have this white area right here. Let's fix that here. Let's add a little bit of texture on them. It doesn't have to be too much, but let's go back to our imagery. Here we go. I'll use the rougher one. And we just need to get a little bit of tone down there. You can see where my fingers are all kind of smudgy with the ink. But that's fine, because that's kind of the, I don't know, the spirit, so to speak, of the piece. It's like dank and, you know, a little dreary. So see that little bit of a textural form will be on the back of this, these little pieces here as you open it up, so it's not so stark white. Maybe we'll get a little bit of tone on here too. So now, see, like that, you flip up like that, it's got that rock on there. But let's add a little bit of color to it to kind of give it more of this kind of antique feel to it. So I'll just go down here. I'm not going to take too much time. This is like the back of a little flap, so it's not going to be like super important. A little bit of black here. Advent calendar, that's what I was thinking about. But the Advent calendar goes, you know, every day of the month. But I know it's got that kind of same kind of spirit to it, you know, opening up and revealing these little things like this. I know you know the name of that. Okay, so I think that should do it. Yeah, see, like that has that little tone on there. I mean, if I wanted to match it up even more, I'd give it a little bit of like distress ink on there or something of that sort, but oh, you know, if I do this again and I really want to get kind of intricate, you know, maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Okay, so let's take a look at it again, see where we are. So we have our little things like that. Boo. Little bat. Ah, skeleton. And our little, I don't know, it's like a little devil or something like that. Okay, now one of the things I was thinking about doing is I was thinking about putting a little bit of this little guy up here. I tell you what, let's do something here. Let's maybe have it a little bit more interesting. Let's have some moonlight. You know, kind of that's in the spirit of like a spooky thing. But I'm going to have like the moonlight like this, okay? So it's going to be blocked out from, you know, some of the, you know, the cave wall like this or something like that. A little bit of it at least. And let's see, I wasn't anticipating using white, so where did my white pad go? These little, this should look pretty cool, I think. Having this moonlight kind of entering the cave, maybe. Yeah, we need it stronger. This paper's too light, so... I mean, it's fine for this, but I'm saying it's too light for the amount of ink that I just used on there. We need to go a little bit stronger. Could even just draw it in, with a white acrylic paint pen, too. This tends to give it a little bit more of a glowing kind of moon feel, like something like that. I was wondering if I should add anything around in here, with that. Any in terms of lighting. Let's give it a try here. I have this little white, colored pencil. Let's add a little bit of lighting on some of these rocks facing the moonlight. We'll have some of this moonlight entering the cave. So remember how I shaded kind of the base up? Now I'm kind of highlighting the top down a little bit of the rocks. Okay, so rock right here, light up top, darker on the bottom, and then you just add a little bit more lighting on the top edge of it, okay? Something like that. That's a little bit better, huh? Bottom light, this rock up top here. Other rocks underneath it are being top lit. I might need to spray fix this. I'm guessing, yeah, see, I get a little smudgy right here, so some of that ink, I don't know if it's like completely dry. But let's take a look here and see. Okay, there's that eyeball right there. Little creatures like that. I'm gonna add a little bit of shading around them too. Let's go a little bit of a brown pencil, and I'll add a little bit of shadow. See, this eyeball's a little bit darker underneath, so I'm just darkening it in those areas like that, okay? We'll give this little skeleton a little bit of a vignette on the side like this. It's a little bit darker on the edge and a little bit lighter on the inside like this, okay? So hopefully this makes the the creatures stand out a little bit more in terms of lighting by making the area around them a little bit darker. Let's do this with the this little devil. I don't know if this will show up, but there's a small opening here, but we'll see. And here's the skeleton right here. I'll put a little bit of shadow around it. I mean, you can tell I'm just doing it very loosely, to say the least. All right, white paint pen. See this little glare in that eyeball right there? I'm just gonna make that stand out a little bit more by reiterating it with white. See, it just kind of stands out a little bit more. Oh, this lower lid. Put a little of that on there like that. Little skeleton head. I'll put a little lighting around it like that. Forehead. This one right here, that's pretty light like that, so maybe I'll don't do whatever until you see the whites of their eyes. Little beady bad eyes. Same here, that little guy. And our skeleton, I'll just try to highlight a couple of the rib bones, maybe. A little bit of chin and skull. Areas of the design that are just kind of inherently lighter anyway. And just kind of bringing them out a little bit. So I'm just kind of lighting the illuminated objects in here. Or areas within the objects. I think that, like that. And let me take a look at it again. That. This nice little stand out a little bit better, like so. I was wondering, was there one over here? I think there was. Let's see. There we go. That, yeah, see that eyeball kind of stands out a little bit more. Like this, and there's that skeleton there. These things pop down pretty well, don't they? Okay, let's get, I'm thinking about this explorer here. It might be kind of interesting. Got to be watch where I'm stamping right here, because I'm stamping over a pretty thick application of white pigment ink, you know, with that moon up there. So, you know, just taking that into consideration. So pressing and holding right here. You don't want to squash the like really tiny image stamp images, because you'll compress them too much. So just light even pressure, but press and hold. You go like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It's an explorer, but who knows? Maybe it's like a sickle or something like that that they're holding. Okay, and then, you know, he's got like, like a cave of, you know, horrors like that. These are the things that await the explorer, you know, like that. Within the forms, like that. I was thinking about, one of the things I was thinking about doing on here is anywhere where there's like a little horror, I was thinking about putting like a little crystal or something like that on those. You know, just so that someone knows, you know. I mean, if you mail this out to someone, it's going to get pretty flattened out, and you know what I mean. They might not be able to tell, where these things are, because I mean, it lays pretty flat like that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Um, we want to get this tape down. Now I can run a tape, thing on this, or I'm going to do it on here. This is flatter, so I think I'm going to do it on this one. Tape runner. So let's go with this right here. I'll probably need to reload this. A lot of tape being used here. Okay, so I'm going to come across this way and right here. You kind of want to go, you know what I mean, around your things, because you're going to be lifting and pulling on the on the top piece of paper. So all right, I need to reload my tape runner here. I know it's going to run out. Okay, you can see where I've ran my tape on here, doing it around the imagery. And I think that should do it. I don't know if that's overkill or what, but hey, it's my first one. Let's let's get it anchored down pretty good. All right, let's see if I can get this lined up here. Get those little spaces in between the areas, little hidden boxes. Then you have this, okay? So it's sandwiched in there, and you get these pieces like this. I think these flaps are working pretty decently. I forgot about this one. Like that. Our little cave of hidden horrors, or cave of delights, maybe, for others. Okay, let's see here. I have my little critter down here though too. And what you do is you give him little beady glowing eyes there like that, to make them really stand out. And then let's add a little bit of additional highlighting on here. Everything looks kind of like really soft lighting right now, which we want, but let's add a little bit of a crisp highlights in here too. think I want to add in a little bit more of a more texture in here. Let's see. Something like this down below, maybe. So you can get some light coming through here, you know, maybe there was something that was growing, but it just kind of adds a nice textural element, I think. Let's see how it looks. Kind of has these arms kind of reaching up towards the light as well. Creates kind of a nice little visual dialogue in the piece when you have things kind of reaching up towards light or something of that sort. And kind of, you know, it's prickly, so, you know, adds to the spirit of a, you know, your Halloween type of scenario here. Okay, let's take a look here. Let's get their things kind of flanned out here. Like I said, they pop into place pretty good. They like snap in. You know, not too bad. Well, this one's like a little bit loose here, but I think it looks pretty cool though, like that. Okay. So we have this, and then we'll go like this. And then kind of the hidden one right here. And then hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you in the next Stampscapes 101.